Hi, everybody. Welcome to Capital to the Coast BNI. My name is Mike Manning. Each week, we bring you a local small business success story from one of our 40 plus chapters, ranging from the Triangle in Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill area, all the way to the coast in the Wilmington area. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. And our job each week when we go to our meeting is to help each other grow business. And that's the Giver's Gain philosophy of BNI. And our local small business success story this week is Angie Stults with First Federal Bank. She is the branch manager at the location in Clayton. Angie is also a member of 919 Networking Group. They meet Thursday mornings at 8:30 at Spinning Mill Lofts in Clayton, where she is on the membership committee. Angie, good to have you on the show. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks, Mike.
Yep. So the banking, I like it. You guys you're a smaller state bank? What are the parameters you guys put on that?
Yeah. So, yes, we are a small, truly local community bank. We do have 6 locations. As you mentioned, I'm in Clayton. We also have branches in Anger, Benson, Dunn, Irwin, and Fuquay.
Very nice. So BNI has seats. So Angie's the only commercial banker in her chapter. So we have carpet cleaning seats, real residential realtor, all those. Some seats are a little difficult to explain or get into easy conversations with if they involve health and wealth. So growing a book of business for the bank can be interesting. Everybody needs that, especially people in businesses. Uh, so with small business owners, I don't think we move that, oh, I've got to find a good banker far enough up to the top of the list before we get going, do we?
No, we do not. And I have that conversation with people a lot. It is something that is very important. You should know your banker. Your banker should be somebody that you trust, just like your attorney, like your financial advisor, because there are things they can do that really can help you grow and maintain your business and be more successful.
And I forgot to mention, one of the best things Angie and I have in common are grandkids. So we'll get to those in a second as well,
Okay.
because that's like the
The important stuff.
best part of
Yeah.
our day and week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So small BNI has taught me a lot of things. The one of the best things it taught me was to shop local. So back to your point of you should have your banker's number, your financial advisor's phone number. You, sh- if you don't want to have to put in your 16-digit ID code to do business with somebody, you may want to look for local. You recently made a banking change. You are from Clayton. That is your community. Those are your people. So you're with Fidelity Bank, moved over to First Federal Bank, but there was a purpose for that, wasn't it?
Yes. I really was happy at Fidelity. It's also a great financial institution. But for me, it was really being 100% a part of the community in which I live. And so an opportunity truly came out of the blue. I think maybe there was some divine intervention for me. So at least that's what I choose to believe. And I jumped on the opportunity because now that I am in Clayton full time, there's just so much more that I can really do, and really help the community, by putting forth the principles of our bank because we do want to be involved. We do want to help the community, and so now I'm here full time and can do that 100%. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, because I go back to the TV commercials of small town business owners, and we see the insurance person, we see the banker, we see the mayor, and things like that. And granted, Clayton is growing, folks. If you've not visited Clayton in a while, please go check that out. They are growing, but it's still a smaller community where that matters.
Right. And I honestly give our local chamber a lot of the credit for that. They are fantastic at really making sure all business owners, but especially small business owners, are a part of the chamber, are welcomed, and that as a team, then we all want to work together because I think what we all understand is that if our small business owners survive, so does the town.
Yeah. And so now when you're going to, because you worked in the one of the carry branches for Fidelity, And now in Clayton, when you go have breakfast in the morning with your husband, you're probably going to start running into current and future clients.
Yeah, which is the part that I love. I love walking into a room and seeing people that I know. I do a lot of networking in the area, which I think is also very important, not only to help bring business to the bank, but just to also let the community know that we're here, and how we can help. And so, yeah, I love walking into what I call a room full of friends,
Yes.
what, even if I haven't yet met them.
Yeah, because we want to hand money over to people we trust. We want to hand our health over to people we trust. And I think that matters a lot. I'm glad you're
Yeah.
able to make this move. So I've got you joining the banking world 2009. So, and we'll get to that in a second. But before that, you came from property management world, pharma, and then financial services worlds that you were in before you came to the banking world. So, what kind of things were you able to bring with you from those occupations and businesses to the banking world?
Well, for me, so I actually am a social worker by education and by heart. So I have a master's degree in social work. So the bottom line always for me is how can I help people? It that really is what motivates me, what drives me. And so being in the financial service world, it's a great way to do that because people definitely need help. It's not something easy. It's not always a fun conversation for people to have. And I know it's something that, quite frankly, is intimidating. And so, being able to help people through this, have those hard conversations, and help them see that there's light at the end of the tunnel, that's really what I want to do. So, it doesn't matter for me if that's in financial services, which I was a financial advisor prior to banking, or if that's in banking. It's a great way to help people in an area that I don't think we do enough in our school systems as
Mm.
families. We don't talk about it enough. And so to be able to be here to provide that guidance and assistance is really what I want to do.
I'm with you on the school systems. I wish there was a well, it would be almost obsolete now, but how to write a check
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Well,
we're
I'm working on that. So stay tuned.
okay, good. I like that. But any kind of information works. You know, you and I need to learn more technology stuff, and the
Yes,
younger people need to learn more some handwritten stuff, right?
that's right. That's
Uh,
right.
so I'm always intrigued with when I have people on the show based on what they do for a living. Was banking or math or numbers? Did you get that gene from somebody in the family?
Actually, probably from my dad. My brother and I both really fall in line after him for that. But honestly, for me, it's more about the people than it is about the numbers. I think I have a unique ability in that I can do both, and I don't think that's really always the case. I think some people really are, one brain side over the other. So some are numbers versus people, but I think I am unique in that I can focus on both, help people figure out the numbers, but do so in a way that is helpful and hopefully comforting.
Are you seeing more women coming into the industry these days?
Absolutely. Yeah. It was a lot of men when I started. I
Mm.
think that it still is, but most definitely, I have seen women in some of the more executive level leadership positions. So obviously, I think that's great, and anything I can do to support that, also, I am a fan of that as well.
Now, do you have to start as a teller to work your way up? Is that how you got started?
I did not, because I had been a financial advisor with the bank that I first started with. I actually came over as the branch manager, but I don't know that that's really the usual path. I have met so many people in banking that did start out as tellers, and I really think that's a great way to go. It's a great career in that you can start as a teller. Just have a high school diploma, and then you can work your way up as far as you want to go, which is fantastic. And I don't think there are a lot of careers that afford you that.
Mm. I like the businesses where you see the story of the, I guess, either the owner or the CEO, and they started out as a teller or a
Yep.
dishwasher or,
Mhm.
carpet cleaning. Now they own a, whatever. So I enjoy those stories a lot.
Mhm.
Um, so 2009, the shift to banking from financial services, how long did that take to come about and what kind of nudged you that way?
So really, it was a decision that was based on my family. Um, when I was an advisor, I did have to do some traveling. I was responsible for several branches, and so I had to travel a little bit. This opportunity again, I am blessed that sometimes these opportunities present themselves, and so it did come to me. I was asked if I would consider taking the branch manager role, and I did decide to do it because I had worked with the team and I knew it was a great team, so I was excited about that, but also it let me be in one place. My kids were younger at the time. We're getting really busy with extracurricular activities and things like that. And this was an opportunity to again be just in my hometown,
Mm.
where we lived, where we did all of our activities. And so I did want to take that opportunity so I could be a little more present for my family.
The day you started as a banker, what was the first week like? What were your thoughts on how am I going to grow my book of business while helping the bank?
That was a long time ago, Mike. So,
That's why I ask the tough
uh,
questions, Angie.
um, I from what I can recall, and this is really when I start anywhere for the first time, I generally spend the first week or so with my team. I think that's just the best place to start. What gaps do they see? What do they think is going well that we should continue? What changes do they think we need to make? Because quite frankly, most of the time you have people that have been in those roles, and I always trust their judgment, until I learned that I shouldn't, but I
Mm.
always trust their judgment and try to start there. I don't believe really that you have to reinvent the wheel, so let's just start with what works. Also, I think a great way to start to grow the business is with the current customers.
Mm.
So I know we talk a lot about getting out of the branch and the prospecting, and of course, we always need to bring new customers to the bank as well. But I think we need to focus just as much on making sure that we're doing a great job for the customers we already have.
And when you were at Fidelity, and I was still cleaning carpets before I fell out of a truck and fractured my right hip, but that's another stupid story for another day. I banked at your branch. That's kind of how we really got to know each other. That and BNI. And every time I walked in, the ladies behind the counter were wonderful. And the young kid, the young guy they hired, they always laughed about making him run Friday lunch errands. And then there'd be a couple of us in there, doing our banking stuff, and we're just love that environment and feel. So I know what you're talking about with that.
Yep, yep, that's great.
So when did networking come into play for you as a banker?
Probably when I very first started. That is something that I did from early on. As I already mentioned, I love people, so networking is something that comes easy to me and is something that I find very enjoyable. Um, Actually, I find it a necessity
Mm.
for myself and my own health and well-being. And so, started really early. Had an experience with BNI. I was invited to go. There was one in my hometown, but once I went, was there was already somebody in the group, so I couldn't join that group. So I just actually started my own networking venture. So been doing networking really as long as I can remember. And in part because I really love just the community piece, getting to know who's in my community. Also, just an important piece of it for me is so that I can become a resource for friends, family, customers, anybody that I come in contact with.
And so being when you now you're from Indiana, and we'll
Right.
gloss over that quickly because we
Yes.
still have an issue from NCAA basketball.
Oh.
Her Purdue team beat my Tennessee team. Not happy. They had one player never got a foul called on him. Blah blah blah. Says the loser of the game. So yes. So we talked many times about that when I would go into the bank, and that's people. That's
Yep.
what connections are for, right there.
Yep.
What got you into BNI down here?
Well, I had recently moved to Clayton and just really wanted to get out and about. So I thought this might be a good way to do it. So I actually visited several of the chapters around the area and really enjoyed the one that I went to in Clayton. Loved the energy,
Mm.
the people were fantastic. And so, really was just a way to, again, start to understand the resources in my community. So, that's how I really got connected here in Clayton.
Now, Clayton is a wonderful small town. How does one get from Indiana to Clayton, North Carolina?
So that's a great question. Had no idea that would be the plan, but we actually left Indiana to go to Florida. You had mentioned property management. So my brother bought a business and asked if we would come help him run it. So it was just, again, a good life timing. And so we decided, what the heck, go try something new. So that's when I have to actually left banking, left Indiana, went to Florida. We ran a property management business with my brother. We did that for 5 years, and then grandchildren came into the picture. They were going to be located in Raleigh, and I decided I wanted to follow them. So,
Mm.
so that's how we ended up back here.
Having lived in Florida as well, what do you miss the most and the least about living in Florida?
Uh, Truly, for me, the only thing I really miss about it, other than some of the people, is we were a 4-minute bike ride from the Gulf. So definitely miss that. We
Mm.
got to see lots of sunsets where we could just ride our bikes down. So definitely miss that for sure. Other than that, it was a vacation destination
Mm.
town, and so a lot of people, I mean, nobody really lived there. Um, so plus it's just a really tough business. So I
Yeah.
I have a lot of admiration for people that do it. I'm glad to be baking.
Yeah. And near your grandkids. I like that a lot.
Absolutely.
So having started the banking business, being in banking since 2009, when did you get a feeling that, okay, this is the right place for me to be?
I really enjoyed the first experience that I had. Again, just the ability to help people. There was some sales piece to it. So I liked that okay too, the business development piece. And there was a lot going on. So, I could work on the business side, I could work on the consumer side. And I just enjoy that. In addition, the team development and really helping people learn and grow and move on in their careers, that training piece. It just really hit a lot of the buckets for me and things that I enjoy doing.
Do you remember one of your first clients and it was an okay sized deal and just getting that done? It's like, okay, I think I can learn this.
I do actually. Yeah, so it was fun, and it was somebody that was already at the bank. Uh, just got to know them from coming in the branch, and we ended up doing a decent size loan for them for their business, and then just really seeing how it helped them progress with their goals and being able to touch base with them and that for a few years was very satisfying and just fun to be a part of.
And you have a couple of roles. You obviously a branch manager. We talked about that. You're also officially or unofficially business development, which is what we all are every day.
Mhm.
Do those? You have to do both. I know your answer is going to be both, but separating those roles, does one just kind of call you more than the other?
Um, Yeah, it really is both. I really enjoy. I mean, it really is just true. And that's probably why I enjoy doing
Mm.
it is because I get to do all of the above. I really do love the focus on the team and really helping people be successful in the branch. But then the developmental piece outside of the branch is equally as satisfying. So I'm sorry to be so predictable, but it really is both.
Now, many businesses market themselves many different ways. I know the banking industry is regulated. I think there are certain things you can't say on social media, and you wouldn't would say it anyways, but that you're not allowed to, stuff like that. So how do you market,
Mhm.
uh, growing a bank and getting new clients?
And so, really, we don't really even have a marketing department. We have a marketing person who just recently was came into the branch manager role, which is great. So we really don't. We don't have a lot of dollars for the, we don't do TV commercials and things like that. So what we do is we really focus on community involvement. That's how we get our name out there. By utilizing the BNI principle of givers gain. That's really what we do, put ourselves out there in the community, volunteering, finding those opportunities, because then we know that creates awareness of the bank and what we do and just who we are as people.
What kind of events do you guys look to get associated with or have been associated with?
Yeah, so I do a lot with the local chamber, which I've mentioned this once. I could probably keep mentioning them because I'm just really in awe of the great job that the ladies, it's all ladies right now, so but that they do, and so do a lot with them. I'm an ambassador with the chamber, trying to become more involved in some of the committees with the chamber, try to attend all the ribbon cuttings, just doing all of those sorts of things, a lot with the chamber, but then just a lot of the networking. We really, people have stepped up in this community, and we have a lot of opportunities for networking, and I try to hit them all.
Do you run across many other bankers out networking?
Um, Not as much as I think I should,
Yep.
to be honest. I know sometimes, and this is again why I'm very, very grateful to our leadership here. They really see the value in making sure that I can get out of the branch, and so I don't think it's for matter of desire. I think sometimes staffing just can be an issue for people inside the branch.
Yeah. And I was at some training this morning for one of our carry chapters, and one of the things we talked about was staying top of mind. And when you're at ribbon cuttings and just like I said earlier, just eating breakfast somewhere, people like, because I'm sure you have a name tag, right? Even when you're out, right?
It's somewhere. There it is. I always have it on.
Yeah. But it's just that staying top of mind in a small community that's
Right.
gonna kinda slowly just you tick up everybody's list because, like, "Oh, I heard they got a new banker, and wow, I've been seeing her at a lot of places lately."
Right.
That is one of your goals, no doubt, in a regular work week, what does that look like? And whatever normal is for you, how often are you in the office? How often are you not?
Um, Depends on the week,
Mhm.
obviously, but I would say I probably spend a third of my time. So I generally have some kind of an appointment either outside of the branch or with somebody coming into the branch to meet me, somebody that I've met in the community. I would say I probably do 10 or 12 appointments a week, that I would call prospecting appointments. So some of that is done with members of BNI, but other just anybody I meet, I always try to get business cards or contact
Mhm.
information, and pretty much 100% of the time I follow up with people, and try to meet on a more personal level just to get to know people. And more recently, now that I'm here in Clayton, I've been actually inviting people into the branch,
Mhm.
so that's twofold. I get to know people, but also they know where we are as well.
Yeah. And they get to see the people, your coworkers and your staff in there and get to meet them and build
Yep.
that relationship. So I know I'm with you on that. It's hard to market or not necessarily market, maybe that's not the right word, but just drum up a book of business for banking because what I've found when it's revolving around health or wealth, they're not really normal, casual, easy conversations. So
Right.
so tell me about your elevator pitch. Who do you ask for and who do you end up getting?
Yeah. So my elevator pitch probably changes because honestly, what I try to do more of is education,
Mhm.
probably more than what I ask for things. Um, Again, just because I believe in it so strongly. I spend a lot of my time talking to people about fraud, asking if they're, who's been affected by it. If you know anybody that's been affected by it, I want to talk to those people. Um, And I said, just really focus on the education part. I tell people, even if you don't bank with me, if you have questions, I want
Mhm.
to help you. So, um, I probably don't focus enough on the kind of people that I want to come bank here, because really the truth of the matter is, um, I want most people to come and bank with us. I think we can help most people, but I do understand that's not an easy transition. And I tell people we do that to you on purpose. We get you in and then we make you sticky so you can never leave us. But I understand that can be a transition for people. But it is important, again, to make sure you know your banker's name and someplace that you feel like you can be for the long term, from people that care about your goals and care about what you need to accomplish.
Yeah, because a lot of times for current or future clients, you're selling a goal or a dream if they have their own home services business and they're finally busy enough, they got to hire somebody and get a new truck. And they walk in very happy, very proud. I'm growing, but I need a truck. And then they get that truck out there. And by the third truck, what I've learned, that's where the growth gets is once you get to that third truck out on the street. So I know people are going to start come finding you for that.
Well, and I was going to say, we'd be happy to help people with the first truck too.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, get them before they get rich and famous, right?
That's right.
All right. So you referenced your husband earlier. His name is Chris. You two have two kids, which, like with my kids, I tell them we'll eventually talk about you, but way after we talk about the grandkids. So you have two grandkids, but get back to Chris real quick. So one of my favorite questions is, how did you and Chris meet, and do you both tell the story the same way?
Yes, I do think we would tell it the same way. We met when we were 10 years old in the fourth grade at Argus Elementary School. I had just moved there, and he was my very first boyfriend when we were in the fourth grade.
Wow. So I'm assuming you haven't been dating since the fourth grade.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, we off and on through high school. And then after high school, we did go different directions for a number of years. I went to college, and he was pursuing a career in music. So he lived in Nashville, Tennessee for almost 10 years, trying to break in. And as you can imagine, that is a tough business. And so we actually just reconnected at a Christmas party. He happened to be back in town, and I was actually not living in our hometown at the time, but my best friend had a party, and we both ended up there and realized that the sparks were still there. And so now we're almost 31 years later.
Oh, that's young love to me, 31, just getting
Yeah.
started.
Good for
Now,
you.
I'm a big fan of those moments in time. So if it had not been your best friend, just a good friend, maybe you don't come back for that, right? But
Yeah.
the fact that it was your best friend and all of a sudden you're there and he's there, who knows, right? If you don't show up, do you guys run across each other again?
Yeah, funny how life is that way.
Yep.
You just, you make decisions every day, and your path is affected by every decision that you make. Hopefully for the better, and in this case, definitely for the better.
And was your husband trying to be a songwriter?
No, he's a drummer.
Ah,
He's a drummer. He can sing a little bit, although he'll tell you he can't, but he can. I think he did. He wrote a few songs that got played on the radio,
nice.
but I think he's a more behind the scenes guy with the drumming.
Is there a drum set in the house?
There is not. He actually hasn't done it in years. He tried, so we're holding out hope for the grandkids, but
Mhm.
he was hopeful that our kids, somebody would pick up the desire to be in music, and it missed our kids. So we're
Yeah.
hoping that maybe there still may be a chance with the grandkids, but we'll see.
And last we talked about your husband and grandkids, what's the, daycare situation for at least with Blair? That's how I learned about it. Is it
Yeah.
day
Yep. So Um, they lovingly refer to my husband as Grumpy. So I am instructed to tell people that my husband is the executive director of Grumpy School of Advanced Learning. So he does provide daycare both for Blair and for Owen. So I tell him every day he's a good man. And then he has supper ready for me every day as well, even though I tell him he works harder than I do.
Mm.
But he feels the need to do those things since he's technically home every day with the kids. But I am certain that he works harder.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody that can leave the house that the kids are still in is
Yep.
working easier. Yeah.
Yep.
Not a problem.
Absolutely.
Because if you have kids or grandkids, they can go from 0 to 100 really fast with no explanation or no warning.
And we have a toddler, and so that is a very true statement.
So he enjoys being grumpy, no doubt. He leans into that.
He does. He says the best job he's ever had.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yep. I believe
So,
that.
yep. So he really does love it. They're talking about perhaps doing some daycare, just trying to give him a break. And so he and I were talking about that, and I said, "How do you feel about that?" And he said, "I'm not sure I'm going to let that happen."
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yep. But it'll be good for the kids to meet friends and
Yeah.
learn
Yeah.
how to share a toy without grabbing the toy and hitting the other person over the head,
That's
right?
right.
But
Those those are
brothers
hard
are
concepts to learn.
that's what little brothers are for, right?
That's right.
So you have a brother. Are you big sister or little sister?
I am big sister.
Were you any good as a big sister?
Uh, some days, hopefully.
Mm.
Other days, maybe not. There is a 5-year gap between us. Growing up, my friends were sometimes a little more important than my little brother.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
All right. So you mentioned earlier that you have you have a degree in psychology from Ball State.
Mhm.
Day one, what was the plan?
Well, I went to college thinking I was going to be in the counseling field. So that was the plan. Um, got my degree and I worked in a psychiatric facility, and actually really did enjoy that, and became friends with one of our resident psychiatrists, and he's the one that really encouraged me to go on to get my master's degree in social work, which I did then pursue. And I was in the counseling field at that same psychiatric hospital for about 15, little over 15 years that I did that.
Would you like to share the location of your master's degree and what the official name of the school is?
So it is IUPUI, is how we say it in Indiana. I'm not sure if you pronounce it differently.
We say it different. We don't announce all the letters. I believe I've heard
Okay.
ooey pooey. So yeah, yeah,
If you're from there, you do not pronounce it that way.
yes.
So it is IUPUI.
And what do all the letters stand for?
So Indiana University, Purdue University at Indianapolis.
Yeah,
So it was in Indianapolis is where I went. So got
couldn't
my master's in social work.
there wasn't an easier name? Do you think?
Uh, Not sure.
Now,
Didn't care about the name, just cared about the
oh
degree.
yeah. Now, did both schools start that? Is that why both names IU and Purdue are in there?
Honestly, I think so. I'm not sure what kind of that collaboration is, to be honest. Guess I never really checked into that.
You still got sweatshirts and hats with IUPUI on it?
I never was a big fan of the IU part
Mm,
of that
yep.
degree. So
Good
yeah.
decision.
Now
Yeah.
my brother would argue he's big IU fan. He did graduate from Indiana University.
Okay.
So yeah, so we also have some interesting conversations in our family.
Okay. So moving back to Ball State, there's hopefully this show will put you on the distinguished list of alums that I found over the weekend on Google.
Okay.
Hoping we got some good listeners, so hopefully your
Okay.
name will
Well,
get up. So
that would be
obviously the
great.
most famous alum is David Letterman
Yeah,
of Ball State.
obviously.
Yeah. He talked about that all the time on the show.
I don't need to be on that level.
No, no.
Yeah.
Well, you might want the bank account level, but not the.
Yeah.
I don't see you as a fame lady looking for. Yeah,
Nope.
no,
Nope.
not you. Joyce DeWitt. You know that name?
I do. Three's Company.
Yep, yep. She played.
Showing our age here now.
Oh, I
Showing our
know.
age.
But here's an interesting one. Jim Davis.
Garfield.
Yep, he created the comic strip
Yeah.
Garfield,
Yeah.
and always good. Just
Yep, that was a good one.
I don't know if he's still doing that, but that was way ahead of its
I
time.
think he passed here within the last few
Oh,
years.
did he?
I think so.
Okay.
Could be wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, I always like to go look and see, you know, who are some
Yeah.
distinguished alums. I knew Letterman. I didn't know the other two, but yeah, Garfield is a solid comic strip. So, all right. So, what does today, Angie? What should today, Angie have told day one, Angie, knowing what you know today about growing a banking book of business slash branch manager?
Um, I think really I would say, just go for it. Don't let things in your head hold you back. Um, just go ahead and be about the people, like I always have been. And the rest will take care of itself. Just worry about taking care of the people bottom line, and the development, the business, everything that comes after that will follow. Just be true to who you are, um, and let the rest happen.
If somebody watching the show today is interested in a banking career, is there any type of preparation, schooling, work history, anything like that they need? Or how do they get into that if they've always wanted to do that?
Yeah. I would say definitely, it's pretty easy to find people that are doing it already. So and I always encourage anybody come in here. I'm always willing to have that conversation, to just see really what it's about. And so many people these days rarely come into a branch
Mhm.
anymore. And so I would really encourage people come in, talk to us, go into your bank, talk to your bankers and just ask the questions, see what it looks like. I'd always be willing to have somebody kind of hang out here with us for a while and just see what we do. I really just think it's asking questions and really seeing what's important to you and what kind of career or job you might be looking for, because I think this can be both. I think it can be a stepping stone to other things. But I also think it can be a great career, just depending on what you might be looking for. But just don't be afraid to ask questions.
Is the technology part of your world the biggest change since you started?
I would say definitely, yeah. Um, we had online banking when I started, but it has really come a long way. So I would say most definitely, as we were talking about before, it's things just are different. I remember Fridays being super busy because everybody got paid on Fridays, and so everybody's coming in on Friday or Saturday morning to cash their checks, and that's almost a thing of the past now. You have mobile deposit, so people don't have to come in and see you. They don't have to rush in here on Friday evening or
Mm.
Saturday morning to make that happen. They can make those deposits right from their couch, or uh, more so it's already done for them. So yeah, definitely the technology has helped to make things easier and more convenient for folks.
Yeah, because back in the day, you could stand in your doorway and talk to 50 people a day at least because they were coming through the line at the counter. And now, do you get 50 people in? Do you get 20 people in? That has
Yeah,
to be a big change.
a big change, and that's why I'm very thankful that First Federal allows me to get out,
Mm.
because that's really the only way to continue to build the business outside of our current customer base. Is you have to be willing to get out of the branch
Yep.
and get into the community and see what's going on.
So my highly paid fact checker here, Amnon, says that Jim Davis is still with us.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Well,
So
I apologize. I
he
got
is
that wrong.
he is 80, 80
Sorry,
ish. Yep.
Jim.
So that's Amnon's role here. He keeps me
Okay.
straight. Yep. So if someone's looking to go into the banking world, how would they kind of start comparing the banks? And you don't have to mention any names, but what should they look for in a bank that they want to be associated with?
So I'm actually in this process right now. I do have a banker position available, so I'm actually having this conversation with a lot of people. Um, Again, I think it depends. If you don't have any experience, I think sometimes maybe smaller bank is a great place to
Mhm.
start. Um, if you're looking, if maybe you already have some experience, but you're looking for the opportunity to really advance in your career, might want to check bigger banks,
Mm.
just where they have a little bit more opportunity, maybe have more branches, more opportunities in the back office type of things. Because that's something that we talked about. While I'm in a branch, there is a whole other side to the technology, the operations, the security piece, of all the people that support what we do in the branches, that you could use to pursue your career as well. So I just really, a lot of it just depends on what you might be looking for, which is why I think it's great to come in and sit down and talk to somebody and really be able to ask questions.
Yeah, because most people, I guess, the first time they joined a bank, especially if they're younger, probably didn't have any banking experience and they kind of learned on the go, right?
Right. And it's a great place to get a career started.
But you have to be able to count, right?
We can teach you that.
Is that what separates us from everyone else? We got the counters and then the
Yeah.
non-counters.
Yeah, we can teach you how to count.
And you have machines. I know the one you roll the bills through and
We do.
stuff like that. So yeah, but the
Yeah.
technology part now, because I'd take a picture of a check and just send that picture on through the system and get a
Right.
deposit, right?
Right.
Yeah,
And
that
that's why
was
for me, it really still is about people. So you really, I think it has to be something that you want to do in working with people and being able to provide that customer service piece. And because that's the piece to me that's harder to teach.
mm,
You're either that person or you're not in most respects. And so it really, I think, has to stem from that you have to want to help customers and be able to listen to them, see what their needs are, and then help provide solutions to those needs.
very nice. All right, so we've been putting Angie's phone number on the screen here during the show. So if you're in the Clayton area, you have to go by there. If you're near Clayton, you should go by there, and she's hiring. So if you're looking for a good job with a good bank in a good community and a career, yeah, probably need to call Angie and just check that out. So hopefully, some people will take us up on that, Angie. But we enjoyed the time. One last tip for someone wanting to move up in the banking world. What if they wanted to get to a branch manager? What kind of background do they need or experiences within the banking world should they have?
I think the more you know, the better. So if you can start out as teller, understand that function, move into more of a banker role where you're opening in accounts and doing more of the maintenance, where you're helping people with debit card issues and things like that. I think all of that really prepares you. Also, get started in the lending. Probably the difference with branch manager at that level is where you do more of the lending function of the job. But if you can have a good, solid background in all of the rest, I think that really helps bring you to a level of success.
I agree. And folks, if you're going to give your money to somebody, you might want to look them in the eye and say, okay, I know who I'm giving my money to. So
That's right.
we've enjoyed having you on. Wonderful tips and good stories. The grandkids. So you moved here because the grandkids love that story. That's just the best. And it was the best, other than probably marrying Chris, your second best decision you've ever made.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. All right, folks, go check out First Federal Bank in Clayton. We've been putting Angie's number up there. And Angie, we appreciate having you on the show. And we'll see everybody next time on Capital to the Coast BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.